Hi guys, in this video I cover identifier names. The first part I focus on the rules to create valid identifiers. Those are identifiers that the compiler accepts without throwing a compile error, and so we can compile our program, we can run our program, it just works fine. Now there are some problems with valid identifiers, so in the second part I focus on naming conventions. That's a convention how we should name our identifiers that all developers agree on to make the code look consistent and easily readable and easily understandable. Let's start out with valid identifiers. So there are some rules to this one. So every identifier must only contain letters. Those can be lowercase and uppercase, digits, the underscore character, or the dollar sign. The second rule is it must not start with a digit. And last but not least, it cannot be the underscore character alone. So let's go over some examples. Let's say I have a simple one, num. This is fine, this is only letters, does not start with a digit. How about number, all uppercase? This is fine too. So any letters, uppercase, lowercase, it doesn't matter. We could even have a mixture. So I have U and M here, lowercase. This is fine as well. What about num 1, 2, 3? This is fine. We have letters in the beginning, followed by some digits. This is fine. And N, and then a bunch of underscores. This is fine too. We are free to use underscores. We do not start with a digit, so this is fine. How about the dollar sign? This is fine too. We do not start with a digit, we just use a dollar sign. We can have also a bunch of dollar signs. This is still valid. Now how about int 123? This one doesn't work because we start with a digit. So I comment the invalid ones out here. What about underscore house? So this one is fine. We can start with an underscore. No problem. What about house number? Separated with underscore, also valid. Now what about just underscore? So just the underscore alone, this gives us a compile error. This is reserved. We cannot just use the underscore alone. This is the third rule up here. Now let's try out 2 underscores. 2 underscores works. What about 3 underscores? So we can use just underscores alone. We can also use underscores and put a dollar inside. So this one is a valid identifier. Now if we wanted to write some code with it, we could write, and I copy this, an equation, for example. This plus this equals this. I probably don't have the exact number of signs, or they are not initialized, so let's initialize them up here. But now that we initialize them, you can see these are valid identifiers. And this brings really the point across why we need a naming convention, so that when we follow the convention, we don't just create programs with identifiers that only consist of underscores, and the only difference is the number of underscore characters in the identifier, because this will make the program almost unreadable completely. It looks more like a quiz than an actual program. So with that, let's go into a naming convention. And the naming convention specifically I cover here is camelCase. This is the naming convention that has been standardized for Java. This is what all Java developers are following. So the camelCase naming convention in Java has a few rules. It should contain only letters or digits, and the first word is all lowercase letters, the second or later words in an identifier start with an uppercase letter. And it may, or digits must only occur at the end. So something like we had up here, num 1, 2, 3. Digits, we can have digits, but I should really try to have them only at the end. So some examples here are num 1 and num 2. This one is fine, num 12. Something like house and then number. So you can see the first word is always all lowercase. If I have more than one word, it starts with a capital letter, number. What about house number? This one is not valid. The reason it gave an error here, by the way, a compile error, is because I had it before, not because it doesn't follow convention. Remember convention, if we don't follow convention, it may still apply. So for the valid identifiers, we can just check if we get a compile error. Here it's really just following the standard. What about number of people? So number of people also not valid because we start with the underscore. Now if I write down here number of people, number of people, this one is valid, this one is fine. Now there are some other implicit rules that are not directly related to camelCase, but I add a fifth rule here. Let's say spell out names. So we don't want to have something like count of houses or some weird spelling that we don't really use. Or for example, premium tickets. So anything that you come up by yourself when you program, always spell it out. This might be we can still extract the full name, but it's much better to write premium tickets. Even though it's longer, this is fine. So this is not valid, this is not valid. So always spell out names. When you can use abbreviations if they are very common, like ABG, average. This is a very commonly used abbreviation. This is still fine. But anything that is not very common, always spell out the names. This is the standard for the Java language. So any experienced developer in Java, if you read the code, you will always see it's spelled out. And this is pretty much it. So when you write programs, always follow the convention. Don't just look for compile errors. When you have words, spell them out. If you have multiple words, first letter of the word should be in uppercase. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.